So the first and most important understanding is that your divine and perfect self is deeper within, and this form, this body, mind and personality is only one tiny aspect which your divine self is managing and inhabiting. Your mighty I Am presence is so much more that we really need to become very humble with our big minds and our self-centeredness, thinking that we are the center of the world and the whole world spins around us. And humanity indeed was assuming for a long time that, humanity is at the center of the universe and the earth is the most important one in the whole universe. So this idea still continues. Although we have developed more scientific, astronomical knowledge, however, within our experience, we still assume that, whatever comes to your mind, or to your senses, to your feelings, is all about you, and the whole world is all around you. So this is called self-centeredness. And this idea continues, this sense continues. And nothing could be more further from the truth of who you really are. At the very highest place, you are actually everything. Your awareness, consciousness is here, everywhere. And within your awareness, you are aware of this environment, this particular experience, including the limited, self-centered self. This is the smaller self. It's usually called the lower self or the self-centered self. So the big now, the big self or the big awareness includes as many self-centered selves as there are people in this room. And as we walk outside, there are plenty more self-centered selves, including even every animal, has a particular view and so on. Some things are natural, some things are not so natural, especially when it comes to human beings. So the big now, it includes everyone. And it's not distinguishing that I am only this particular animal or I'm only this particular person. A step down, there is your individuated God self. There is your individual divine self. And that one is yours, kind of more exclusively yours. Although this divine self, with which you are more personally connected, might be managing more forms throughout multiple planes of existence. So again, we have to become a bit more humble to see that that this particular configuration of the body, mind, Personality is again not so exclusive to your own divine self, but that divine self is yours. It's your connection. It's more individual, and it's still the same divine and perfect. Humanity has been conditioned to accept imperfection. Humanity has been conditioned to accept disharmony, disbalance. And although humanity has made peace with everything and has accepted the way things are, it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's love. It doesn't mean it's divine. And it doesn't mean that we should continue the same way as we have accepted and made peace with. The same way as people have a habit of smoking, it doesn't mean that it's healthy, obviously. Although one has accepted that they're doing this self-destructive action, it doesn't mean that it's healthy. It doesn't mean that it's helping anybody with anything. So as we look around from the eyes of divine, we see that there is a lot of work to do here. We can evaluate the whole civilization. We can evaluate cultures. We can evaluate every aspect of the whole human realm to see how aligned it is with divine. And even though we comfortably assume that if we live our lives as good people, we're gonna go to heaven. Many tried that, not many made it to heaven. Because just living life as a good person, trying to avoid the issues and challenges, and trying to make peace with all the troubles and experience, it doesn't mean that you will open your heart really, truly. So acceptance, it's not always divine. Yes? We have to look from a higher perspective and then evaluate all other practices and things that we do, how they relate in terms of divine. Because ascension can happen not only when you leave your body and stand at the gates of the heaven. That's already a bit too late, actually. Because you lived your whole life. And probably you could have done a lot more to open those gates for you, rather than waiting and hoping that when you get to the gate you will be accepted. Why don't you work right now on it? So ascension is something that you can do now. It's something that you can work towards with. And that is how you can open these doors already. And that's called living in heaven on earth. 2 feet in heaven, 2 feet on earth. And since you have both feet in heaven and on earth, you know that there is a lot more work to do here to help others to bring their feet in heaven. So very humbly, I may say that your divine self is much, much more that you can think of, that you can try to sense into. Many years ago, I could not even imagine with my limited mind when I was a teenager or a kid, what is a divine self? I couldn't even imagine that. And now, although I know it's so much more, and embodying as much as possible right now, I know that this work is continuous. And even though I accept the limitations of this physical vehicle, I still know that there is a million things more than I can do to align more with the Divine Self. Even though I know that we live in a Western society, I know that there's a million things more that we can do to align more with the Divine Selves. And it's not the blind belief or faith, because whenever you feel happiness, you should inquire, first of all, where do I feel happiness, love, joy, and peace? I feel it inside me. If I feel inside me, where does that come from? What does that connect with? This love, happiness, peace that I feel inside me. Where does that connect with? Where does that come from? And that is the showering of your own Divine Self. So your Divine Self gives you those glimpses whenever your mundane life aligns in some fortunate opportunities, you experience love or peace or happiness. We should understand right away that the alignment of mundane life with fortunate opportunities is not the most empowering way to work with that. So there must be a more direct way to experience love, happiness, peace, and bliss. And that, of course, comes through the right knowledge and the right association and the right practice and all the things that you can do and you can work upon to transcend the limitation of circumstances, to transcend the limitation of mundane life and dependency upon circumstances, so that you can work upon your Divine Self at will, whenever you want. And then you know that with the specific meditations, you can experience love where inside you, from where? From your Divine Self, Source, many names. There is so much love, so much happiness, so much peace and joy that if it kind of showered you even 5% of its capacity, you wouldn't handle it, most likely. You would say, this happiness, it's way too much, you know. You would just start burning up, you know, you would heat up so much and start feeling that your whole body is burning inside. You say, that's it, okay, enough, you know, too much happiness, you know, can't handle that much. Or too much love, that it starts even hurting, you know, because you hold some other things which are not love. Or too much peace, that your mind starts getting very confused and anxious. It's too much peace, you know. I'm not used to it. So your Divine Self has so much, all of it, that You need a gradual adjustment. Yeah, because your body, your fragile body, is used to a lot of things which are not perfect. Anger, sadness, confusions, doubts, and worries. There is so much integration in the body of these lower disharmonies that it's a miracle that we can function. From the divine self view, it's a miracle that these people are sane. Well, they are quite insane, but let's say sort of sane. They kind of accepted and found a way to continue living with so many challenges and troubles, disharmonies. Let's call them disharmonies in the biggest sense. So, this body is a miracle at how many disharmonies it can handle and accept and maintain, such as smoking, like a certain instinctual addiction that wires in and it's sustained, even though it's self-destructive. So of course self-destructive patterns are the worst, because they surely shorten your life and create more disharmony, disbalance. But there are many other patterns of disbalances that are sustained, maintained, supported, and accepted in your system. And then we would say, well, to live a divine life, it's such a big change. The society is so disbalanced that everything is so very unsupportive in many ways. So it's a very big reevaluation. But today's message is for you to know and to verify. First of all, to know, to bring it into your awareness that your divine self is so beautiful, so big and vast that it wouldn't fit in your brain. It would fry it. I like the quote from the movie Gods of Egypt, when a human asked God of knowledge, how this creation was made, this world, how was it made, And he says, if I would even try to explain you, your brain would melt and run out of your ears. So first of all, we come to know that there is a divine self, also called I am, the mighty I am presence, meaning all powerful, all loving, all wise. First of all, we get to know that there is this individual divine self. And then how do we verify its existence? That's a big question. By asking, where do we feel love, happiness, peace, and all good things that we ever feel inside? And where does that come from? And when we feel that, we feel so good. It's a verification that the divine self feels so good, because love and peace and happiness feel so good. We feel so good. And where do these feelings come from? They come from your own divine self. And as you meditate and continue inquiring, you will come more and more and more to realize that, to see that. So it requires knowledge, and it requires inquiry, and it requires practice, of course, meditation. And this is how we start to rewire our this harmonious human nature, this balanced humanness, into more and more love, wisdom, and power of your own divine self. And as you work towards that, you will learn what you need to learn. You will feel more and more. You will experience more and more. You will see and know more and more. So while self-realization is one of the first most important steps, the ascension or realignment towards your divine self is an ever ongoing process, which you can go in conjunction with self-realization, which is most recommended, because then you raise your frequency as you aim for self-realization. Or for some people, they work on self-realization and then they continue working through it. But many times it's a bit, those who are really, focus so much on self-realization that they ignore everything else, if or when they get to self-realization, with the assistance of somebody who is already there, then they experience a lot of pains because their energies are not compatible. So many people come to me and saying, who come from other teachers, and they say, I feel so much pain, there's so much contractions. The nervous system is barely coping with this higher consciousness. And I say, yeah, well, you ignored all of it, and then you just wanted to get this to be plugged into a higher voltage, but your body is not used to it at all. So pain is experienced because of the big difference. So then we need to pick up again energetically where one is and continue increasing their adjustment to the higher voltage, higher frequency.